pollution. Remember one time the Nairobi River was a sparkling example of what an environment could be like. Crocodiles had started coming there, nature was thriving, but it has all gone to the dogs. This is just an example of what happens when you don't take care of the environment. Polluting the rivers will always have a fallback. Another thing is appreciating greenery. Keeping your area green. Try not to remove plants. Instead, plant things, no matter how small a space you may have. Keep it green. Let plants grow, because somehow they add a very nice touch. They give us fresh air, and after all, who doesn't want to live in good, green, nature-filled surroundings? This has been Self-Care Tips on taking care of our immediate environment.
There's a new game in town. It's a game like no other. It's captivating. It's fun. Entertaining and refreshing.
Which year was the film released?
Correct answer.
Don't miss out on the Second Chance television game show, premiering on Channel 1.
Kupata Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial star 811 star 817 hash. Mwenyezi Mungu ni mwamba wangu, ngome yangu na mkombozi wangu. Mungu wangu, mwamba wangu ninayemkimbilia ninapohitaji kuwa salama. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial star 811 star 817 hash. Star 811 star 817 hash.
Good evening and welcome to Sunday Express. On Tuesday, President-elect William Ruto takes oath of office to be the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. After that, the job is clearly cut out for him, and he appears well seized of the issues with the promise of bringing down the cost of fertilizer as well as unga. Obviously, the country will hold him down to that.
On the same time, 17 hours ago, the United States of America President Joe Biden already made a list public of the delegation that is going to be attending the inauguration. And you can bet KBC Channel 1 is going to be bringing you that live ceremony from right here.
Absolutely, an exclusive coverage of the swearing in of the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, what we would call a front row view of the events at Kasarani. But let's just give you a sneak preview of what has been happening across the country today.
Nimeketi chini na watu wa Wizara ya Kilimo na nitawatangazia bei mpya ya mbolea ambayo tutakuwa tumepunguza wiki hii ambayo inaanza kesho.
President-elect William Ruto promises to reduce the price of maize flour and fertilizer once sworn in next week. Last respects by dignitaries and the public in a 6-hour journey of Queen Elizabeth's coffin from Balmoral Castle to Edinburgh, Scotland. And the environmental and health hazards posed by plastic material in our feature, Plastic's Nightmare.
Good evening, this is Sunday Express and I am Regina Manyara. Our sign language interpreter is none other than Byron Abuli.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. Welcome to the broadcast now. President-elect William Ruto has promised to review downwards the prices of unga and fertilizer next week after he's sworn into office as part of measures aimed at boosting the agricultural sector.
Now, Ruto also rallied Kenyans to pay taxes and embrace savings in financial institutions. As Geshoke Washira reports, the incoming head of state says he intends to form a government that will stop external borrowing.
This Sunday before his inauguration as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, President-elect William Ruto attended an interdenominational Thanksgiving service at Maua Stadium in Meru County. Ruto attributing his win in the August 9 presidential election to prayers and devotion to God, recounting how all odds were against his bid.
Hata tukaambiwa na hata tukishinda hiyo kura hatutashinda kwa sababu kuna deep state itaiba kura yetu. Kwa hivyo kwa mipango na makadirio ya binadamu sisi hatukukuwa ni watu wa kushinda. Lakini kwa sababu kuna Mungu mbinguni, jameni.
Both Ruto and Deputy President-elect Rigathi Gachagua expressing their gratitude to the electorate in Mount Kenya for voting for Kenya Kwanza, even as they reached out to all Kenyans to work together.
Na niseme rais wetu Uhuru Kenyatta, tunamualika kwa heshima. Hatuna maneno na yeye. Yeye atapata heshima yake akistaafu. Tumechukua nafasi kumualika Kasarani. Akuje apeane uongozi, mchana watu wakiangalia, alafu aende nyumbani apumzike. Yale tumekubaliana ni mambo ya maana. Bei ya kahawa, majani chai, maziwa, miraa, muguka. Hiyo ndiyo mambo ya maana. Hii ingine ya vyeo ni nyongeza tu ya kusukuma kazi.
The president-elect promised to review downwards the prices of unga and fertilizer next week and revamp miraa export to encourage revival of the economy without foreign debt.
I am looking forward to the day soon enough when we can borrow from the savings of the people of Kenya to run our development instead of borrowing from other countries. Sheria ya Kenya kwa sasa haijatusaidia sana tuwe na akiba. We have a problem and a challenge of savings in the Republic of Kenya. We don't save, yet the Bible tells us that we should. You can never have an inheritance to leave to your children if you don't save. Tunaelewana?
The Kenya Kwanza leadership assuring Kenyans their needs will be prioritized by the incoming government. President-elect William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua will take oath of office on Tuesday, September 13th at Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, Nairobi. Geshoke Washira, Sunday Express.
And the job begins after Tuesday. Now, Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti says she's ready to work with the President-elect William Ruto's administration to ensure quality service delivery to the people of Machakos.
Wavinya said Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leaders respected the Supreme Court's verdict and elected county leaders ought to work with the incoming administration to benefit from the national cake. Sentiments echoed by Kakamega Deputy Governor Ayub Sevula, even as a section of Azimio leaders maintain they will play the opposition role.
With the new administration set to come into power on Tuesday, September 13th, 2022, a section of leaders from various counties allied to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition are pledging to work with the incoming regime.
Viongozi wetu walisema vizuri, wamekubali nini, maamuzi ya nini ya koti. Dr. Samuel Ruto is the president of the Republic of Kenya now. And we have to work with him.
Saa hii mimi nitafanya kazi na William Samoei Ruto, Kenya iende mbele.
Governor Wavinya Ndeti of Machakos County says politics is a competition and that elected leaders obligated with the role of delivering services to the electorate must endeavor to do so.
Na lazima tufanye na mheshimiwa Dr. Samuel Ruto. Kwa nini? Ako na 85% of the national budget. We get 15%. If I love the people of Machakos, I have to work with the current president.
But former Kakamega County Governor Wycliffe Oparanya and Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua maintain they will form a strong opposition.
But I've performed as a governor, whether I was in opposition or not, but I was in opposition. And the people have recognized my role here in Kakamega, what I did.
For now, we have been assigned a role in the opposition, and unless otherwise directed, to kopale kwa opposition. Lakini niseme jambo moja. Ile 85% ambayo governor aliongea habari yake ya national government, that 85% belongs to the people of Kenya. Those who voted for the president and those who did not vote for him.
Paranya says the Azimio leadership is planning to convene a meeting of elected leaders to strategize how to be a vibrant opposition to put the Kenya Kwanza government in check. With the new county governments in place, many county bosses have already begun cleaning house in a bid to restore public confidence in the devolved units.
Uachilie probox zote ambazo umefikia. Hawa vijana wanaumia. Na hawa vijana ni wetu. Wakikosa mtoto uchapi wako unaua. Unampanga vizuri.
Kamchemenza for Sunday Express.
Now to matters security, where police in Royal Kiambu County are pursuing 3 gunmen who shot and killed a 35-year-old man on Sunday morning as he and his girlfriend were arriving home after a night out. Geoffrey Sigay and his companion had arrived at their apartment when they were confronted by the armed thugs who opened fire.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigations are on the trail of 3 armed gangsters who fled after shooting and killing a middle-aged man. According to a police report, Geoffrey Sigay and Winfred Karwethi had arrived at an apartment in Ruiru in 2 separate vehicles at about 4:30 a.m. when they were confronted by the armed thugs. The apartment security guard said 3 men forced their way inside the compound as soon as the vehicles entered the building and began ransacking one of the vehicles. The deceased was shot on the abdomen as he confronted them for attacking his companion. Sigay was rushed to a hospital in Ruiru where he succumbed to injuries while undergoing treatment. Crime scene detectives based in Thika visited the scene and recovered 2 spent cartridges. It has since been established that the 2 on their way home had been trailed by a silver Toyota Prado that the assailants used as their getaway vehicle. Police are calling on anyone with information leading to the arrest of the gang to forward it to the nearest police station. For Sunday Express, I'm Ben Troinjue.
And let's look at the preparations ahead of the swearing-in at Kasarani. Preparations are in top gear at the Moi International Sports Centre, Kasarani, the venue for the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect William Ruto on Tuesday, September 13th. The government says preparations are in the final stages, assuring that everything will be in place for the historic event.
At Kasarani Stadium, artists, choirs and dancers who will be entertaining guests during the inauguration of the 5th president were busy fine-tuning their songs. Those in charge ensured that every song and every move was up to perfection. Those contracted to ensure that the stadium was ready to host its 60,000 capacity were busy putting everything in place. At the dais, carpeting was going on to give it a top-notch splendor for the state function. Head of Public Service Joseph Kenywa, together with his Assumption of Office team, were here to ensure everything proceeds as expected. Kenywa said the government was working round the clock to ensure that the preparations are at 100% by tomorrow.
I would like to assure Kenyans that everything has been done properly, and whatever is remaining, we believe by the end of today, we will have accomplished so that by tomorrow, even if there is any small commas, those will be things that we can be able to clean in the morning and ready for 13th.
Kenywa said so far 20 heads of state and government have confirmed attendance.
I would even request our Kenyan people to demonstrate to the rest of the world we are a people who belong to the first world by ensuring we don't have such dignitaries coming and us being seen to be a people who do not seem to fit that category.
While calling on Kenyans to come out in big numbers to witness the national event, Kenywa said should there be those who will not get a chance to get into the stadium, there will be a provision of large screens outside the stadium beaming the happenings inside to enable them to follow the event.
And appealing to the Kenyans to ensure we have peaceful function in terms of us not again allowing any commotion, which can happen when you have a too large population coming. So we'd like Kenyans to really demonstrate we are a people who are civilized and can be able to move just like those who consider themselves to be in the first world.
He said those planning to attend should be seated by 8 a.m. and cooperate to ensure the event is successful. The government says the preparations here at Kasarani Stadium towards the inauguration of the 5th president is at 90%, even as it encouraged Kenyans to come out in big numbers and witness this historic moment. Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Sunday Express.
Now, 60,000 Kenyans are, or rather, those who want to participate or be part of the making of history that is going to be happening in less than 48 hours at the Kasarani Stadium. Well, if you're not able to make it, KBC Channel 1 is going to be broadcasting this live. Now, on to matters health, where Kilifi County Referral Hospital has conducted a successful spinal surgery on a 25-year-old who had been bedridden for a year and a half. Hamisi Morahani, a resident of Golini Village, Kwale County, is one of the many residents that have been forced to seek a specialized spinal treatment outside Kwale due to lack of an orthopedic spine specialist surgeon.
Hamisi Morahani was all smiles after a successful spinal surgery, despite the fact that he will be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He remains positive about his future. The second born in a family of 3 says he had been bedridden for a year and a half as his family could not afford to pay for the operation.
Sasa ilikuwa imechukua muda akasuggest mambo na chuma ikawa ni $100,000, lakini sasa ikawa kuna pesa, kabidi mambo na kurudi tena nyumbani. Familia ilizunguka sana kwa magavana, ma MCA wale walikuwa uongozini wakati ule, lakini walishindwa kutoa msaada.
The 25-year-old finally underwent surgery after the Kwale County Woman Representative Fatuma Masito intervened.
Juzi nikamleta hospitali hapa Kilifi, akafanyiwa upasuaji na Dr. Mustafa, ndio daktari wake, akamfanyia upasuaji wa mgongo na madaktari wanasema ilifaulu operation, na kwa sasa hivi kama tunavyomuona mgonjwa yuko pale kwenye kitanda na anaendelea vizuri.
Morahani injured his spine in a border accident in April last year. He says upon further consultation at different hospitals in Mombasa and Kilifi, it was agreed surgery was the best option.
Lakini Dr. Mustafa alivyoniona akanambia venye upanini accident ilikuwa ya muda mrefu, itabidi chuma. Kwa sababu alisema kama ingekuwa ni 15 to 10 days ingefanyika tu bila shida.
Kwa saizi anaendelea vizuri, ambayo amewekewa makataa ya siku 2 ambapo anaweza baada ya siku 2 tunaweza kumkalisha kwa kiti ambacho mheshimiwa amemletea. Natumai kiti hiki kitamsaidia kwa shughuli zake za kila siku ili kukaa kumpatia mobility.
The 25-year-old is a trained plumber and electrician and is ready to take up any job to continue fending for himself and his family.
Mimi kuendeleza kimaisha, chochote chenye nitapata ni mfano mtu akinishika mkono akiniambia fanya hiki, fanya hivi, mimi nitafanya. Kwa sababu siwezi chagua kazi.
Kwale County Woman Representative Fatuma Masito called for concerted effort among leaders in Kwale County to improve health standards in the area.
So lazima tupeleke policy, na mimi niko tayari kuleta mswada au policy ya kuweza kukabu zile jamii maskini wawezeshwe kimatibabu, iwe akifika anaweza kupata picha, anaweza kufanyiwa matibabu ya hali ya juu ambayo mtu mwingine angekuwa amekwenda hospitali kama Aga Khan angekuwa amefanyiwa.
Well, time for us to take our first breather on Sunday Express. And by the way, we recognize, we see you, the traffic on our social media pages, we see it. And who knows, at the tail end of the program, we will recognize some of you and read out some of your comments. But it's time for us to take a breather.
Indeed.
All I do is win. I wake up, I win. I close my eyes, and I win.
We got an emergency, girlfriend.
Keep up with me, come on, let's go. Keep winning till the world stops spinning. Independent women, come on, now let's get it. I'ma keep winning till the world stops.
Wow, you look great. Did you just come from the salon?
Darling Abuja, braids that stay salon fresh no matter what.
I want you to bet $1,000 on the Florida team. And I also want you to bet $300 on the Asian boxer. I know I will win this time.
Don't you think your remark is out of place?
No.
No?
Well, of course he was. Because your mother enticed him again, and all she wanted was to separate my parents. Hey, that is not true, and I won't let you ever badmouth my mother. Never.
But you should understand, instead of hating them, I don't know, perhaps you could question yourself. Try stepping into their shoes.
Oh, it's definitely best for Tobias to stay away from her. From his real mother.
Walimu na wanafunzi mpo. KBC Channel 1 inakutoa darasani na kukuleta jukwani ili upate kuaminika.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Tayari kuwakariria shairi kwa kichwa.
Kuelimika.
Udhui gani ya lugha yanayojitokeza katika kauli hii ukirejelea mataifa mengi barani Afrika?
Na kisha uburudike.
Moja ni fahari yetu, baba, kina mama na watoto.
Sauti za njiwa tamu sana.
Sanaa ya Kiswahili, elimu na maarifa bila mipaka, kila Jumapili saa 7:30 papa hapa KBC Channel 1.
Father, I don't really like that lady. Don't let her stay here with us. I can see that she wants to marry you and replace my mother.
I thought they would lock you up for a few decades. Hey!
You're the one who gave me the idea.
You really scared me.
And you. Every time I see you gossiping. Glad I didn't marry you.
Your mother isn't coming back.
Why not? Didn't you say as long as that lantern keeps burning, Mother will come back one day?
The flame went out.
What happened, Father? Did Tanner knock it over?
Enough.
All right, welcome back to Sunday Express. Probably let's just focus on the COVID-19 situation in the country.
Indeed. And now the COVID-19 positivity rate in the country stands at 0.8%. This is after 5 people tested positive for the virus from a sample size of 641 tested in the last 24 hours.
According to the Ministry of Health, the total confirmed positive cases now stand at 336,295, with cumulative tests conducted at 3,867,831.
Now, 13 people have recovered from the disease in the last 24 hours. No patient has succumbed to the disease in the last 1 day, with the cumulative fatality standing at 5,674.
So far, over 17 million adults have been fully vaccinated in the country. And switching gears now, Homa Bay County Referral Hospital has received drugs boost worth 80 million shillings projected to benefit all sub-county hospitals.
Now, the drugs availed by the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA, are expected to improve services at the Homa Bay Referral Hospital, which has been on its knees for lack of drugs and constant strikes from its staff.
Presiding over the disbursement of the consignment, Homa Bay County Governor Gladys Wanga stated that health is a priority in the region following worrying indicators of various diseases, especially among children.
Next week, we will continue to receive commodities, farms and non-farms, for our dispensaries and our health centers.
Elsewhere, residents of Mukuru Kwanjenga slums in Nairobi County have called on the government to resolve the prolonged land ownership dispute and help them acquire titles for the land. Led by their member of county assembly, they say lack of titles has subjected them to untold sufferings occasioned by frequent evictions and demolition of their houses.
Ungemwomba Mheshimiwa Rais safari ama ile tunaweza fanya wananchi visitation ya kwanza ikuwe ni hapa Mukuru kwa Jenga, aje tukuwe na kiketi na yeye tuongelee mambo ya hili shamba letu, ndio tutafute suluhisho, tusiishi kuhangaishwa tena.
Ensuna West Member of Parliament Peter Masara has assured constituents that the CDF fund is intact despite concerns it may be scrapped. The legislator said the kitty is crucial to development in the regions.
We appreciate what CDF has done, and we will continue appreciating what CDF is able to do. Therefore, for my community, we are going to use the same money.
In the meantime, Iteso Cultural Union is appealing to the President-elect William Ruto to consider the community in cabinet appointments. Speaking at Angorom Village, the Prime Minister of the Union, Freddy Kadungo, said Kenya should move forward in unity.
Tungependa kuhimiza President ambaye amechaguliwa wa 5 wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kujumuisha jamii zote za Kenya pamoja ili kuleta amani kwa ajili ya maendeleo ya nchi hii.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
In Kiambu County, Deputy Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, Reverend Paul Mwangi Kariuki, is calling upon all leaders to work together with the new national government. He made the appeal during the dedication of PCA Lioki Church in Githunguri.
Na hata mambo ambayo yanayohusu uendelezaji wa nchi hii, tunaomba pia uongozi ukachukua sehemu zote sawa.
Similar sentiments were echoed by Mount Kenya South Diocese Anglican Church of Kenya, Bishop Charles Muturi, who called on the new leadership to help eradicate drug and substance abuse in the region.
Lakini tafadhali, Your Excellency, pigana na dawa za kulevya, pigana na madawa, pigana na uhalifu, na tutafurahia maisha hayo mengine.
He was speaking during the centenary celebrations of Anglican Church of Kenya Gacharaga in Kiambaa. For Sunday Express, I'm Wycliffe Okoth.
Let's focus on some sad events happening in the United Kingdom. And Queen Elizabeth's coffin has arrived in Edinburgh, Scotland, and placed in the throne room of a palace of Holyrood House. The cottage left Balmoral Castle for a 6-hour journey through north-east Scotland, and with 3 main stops for dignitaries and the public to pay their respects to the late monarch who died on Thursday, aged 96.
Queen Elizabeth's cottage left her beloved Balmoral Castle at 10 a.m. UK time on Sunday to begin the 6-hour journey, with thousands of people lining the route to Edinburgh, Scotland. The late Queen's oak coffin was accompanied by the Princess Royal Anne and Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, with mourners lining the route passing through Aberdeen, Dundee and Perth to pay their respects as it made its way to the official residence of the British monarch in Scotland. Along the route between Aberdeen and Dundee, silent onlookers threw floral tributes in the path of the hearse to the Palace of Holyrood House, where the body will remain until Monday afternoon. The King and members of the royal family will accompany the coffin in procession to St. Giles Cathedral, where a service will be held. The Queen will lie at rest at the cathedral for 24 hours until Tuesday, allowing the public to view her coffin. Thereafter, the cortege will then depart the cathedral to be flown back from Edinburgh to London. The Queen will lie in state in Westminster Hall for 4 full days before her funeral on Monday, September 19th, 2022, allowing members of the public to file past and pay their respects. Reporting for Sunday Express, I'm Esther Bodo.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Hello there. Good boys gone bad. Eric Omondi has evolved from being a comedian to now being the king of clout chasing.
How does a gospel artist make money?
Jaguar wept again. Anaweza kuwa celeb, anaweza kuwa na followers, but it's a time for artists to make bank. Right?
How is your relationship with Zari, considering that she dates young?
These are accessories. They do not make...
Slap the guy.
Yo, what's up? My name is Ted Josiah.
Much
I'm watching Pop Culture with Adhiambo with a Y.
Welcome back. You're still on Sunday Express right here on KBC Channel 1. Now, the global challenge in managing solid waste is further compounded by plastics, most of which are not biodegradable.
Now, the menace that are plastic in the oceans and on land and in the air is fueled by rapid urbanization, changing consumption patterns, and the growing middle class that use plastics on the go.
Our reporter Opicho Chemutai Jael explores the environment, pollution and health risks posed by haphazard dumping of plastics.
When Alexander Parks invented plastic in 1862 to assist humanity cope with consumption patterns, it was not envisaged that this discovery will become a bitter pill to swallow. Helen Denner, an environmentalist at Greenpeace Africa, says the dangers posed by careless disposal of plastic waste are immense.
When it rains, there's a lot of flooding, and plastic will block the drainage channels and the water channels. There's also microplastics, which these species are ingesting. And not just that, these species, most of us will enjoy, our fish.
The huge demand for plastic has triggered production at tremendous rates that have surpassed the rate at which it is being removed from the environment and recycled.
We only do 9%. That then means a lot of this plastic will end up in the environment, in the marine ecosystem, and even, to our tables in the form of microplastic.
Denner suggests that end users need to adopt the 4 R's, that is reduce, reuse, recycle and recover, to help curb the high uptake of plastic materials.
Look for other channels of packaging, delivery channels. They should also invest in refill and reuse models. So we don't actually have to keep on going to buy soda in a plastic bottle.
Besides degrading the environment, plastics strewn in the compound collect rainwater that provide habitats for mosquitoes, especially the Aedes mosquito that transmits dengue fever.
Are transmitted by mosquitoes that are mainly bred majorly in containers, and this happen especially in areas where water and the systems are not well connected, such that the population in that area have to keep their water inside homes. But even if you have to keep water in your house, cover.
Dr. Edith Limbaso, a senior research scientist in the Department of Virology at the Kenya Medical Research Institute, warns that to date, dengue fever has no vaccine.
Vaccine trials have been done, especially for dengue, but none of them has been successful, or if at all it has been successful, it's not yet here.
For Harriet, life has not been the same since she contracted dengue fever.
First, it started with joint pains and body fatigue and body weakness. It persisted, and in fact now I started getting headaches. Though the headaches were on and off, I would take painkillers, just self-medicate myself.
As a viral infection, dengue fever has no treatment, so patients have to rely only on management of symptoms associated with fever caused by the infection.
Doctor now put me on medication, but mostly the medication he put me on were pain relievers, because as you know, dengue fever does not have a particular treatment. In my perspective, I thought probably I could be having malaria.
This is one among the many cases of dengue fever. It is so unfortunate that a lot of people who have contracted it have no idea how to handle it. Dr. Esther Getambu explains the prevalence and impacts associated with dengue fever to humanity.
Your platelets can go down to the levels where you start to bleed. All right, bleed from you brush your teeth, you bleed, your nose starts to bleed, you start bleeding from the anal orifices. Dengue also can give you severe shock. You can present with shock. All right, you stand up, your blood pressure falls down, you also go down. And the intervention is just giving IV fluids, giving paracetamol, all right? Supportive treatment, feeding somebody, making sure that their blood pressure is up.
The saving grace for the human population is by ensuring that the habitats associated with the mosquito that spreads the virus are cleared.
That mosquito breeds in fresh water, and fresh water is in your house. In the bucket where you keep, in the bottles where you keep, in your septic, in your tank upstairs where you store the water.
Beyond the government policy on plastic waste and waste management, there is need for counties to develop affordable waste collection, recycling and composting. Even in areas demarcated for waste disposal, such as the Dandora dump site, dumping has to be controlled for the sake of those living nearby. It all narrows down to this. As it is, plastic is a great contributor of health problems, clogging of drainage system, and even it has affected aquatic lives. The question is, are we treating the plastic menace with the magnitude that it deserves? Opicho Chemtai for Channel 1 News.
When we talk about climate change, we often forget that what we are consuming, we may think it's not edible, but what you're dumping actually has an overall effect on not just the environment, but also our individual health.
All right, a word of caution there, thrown by Opicho Chematai. What a fantastic story there. We're taking a break. When we come back, on the other end of studio is Richard Munga, he of Manchester United, to bring you the latest in sports.
Ile mshtuko nikashindwa, watu wamekata usingo.
Kwa nini analeta mimi shule? I want us to cooperate together.
Cooperation ni ile ya serikali.
Sio hiyo unamaanisha.
Mimi ndio mwalimu ama ni wewe?
Changanya mimi Monday, Jumatatu na Tem. Tofauti na gani? Hii ni hot towel mate tulijifundishwa. Hiyo nani alikwambia ndio hot towel?
Oh, good evening. As always, it is an honor to have your company for KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. On to a top story tonight, whereby Kamito High School produced a masterclass performance to qualify for the handball finals after thrashing St. Luke's Kimilili 27-25 in the semi-finals at the National Secondary School Ball Games being held at the Nakuru High School. The team will now face Hospital Hill in the finals. The games are expected to end tomorrow, with the winners in various categories clinching a spot to represent Kenya in the East Africa Games set to be held in Arusha, Tanzania next week. With the songs of joy in their faces, it's a real sign that the players and fans of Kamito High School were expecting a victory in their hard-fought semi-final match, in which Kamito came from 10 goals behind in the second half and registered a 27-25 victory over St. Luke's Kimilili High School.
Mara ya kwanza nikianza kucheza handball, level yenye nilifika regionals na nilishindwa na timu kutoka Nandi County inaitwa Saniak, na tukarudi shuleni na tukaanza kutrain. Tukatrain tukijua tulishindiwa na itafika siku yenye tutashinda. Hiyo wakati mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa kidato cha 3 form 3, alafu nikaona ya kwamba nilishindwa, lakini lazima nifike penye sikufika. After the win, Kamito will now take on Hospital Hill High School in the finals, which defeated Manyara High School 25-16. Both Kamito and Hospital Hills have already qualified to represent Kenya at the East African Championships, which are set to be held in Arusha next week. In football, Highland High School qualified for the finals of the tournament after defeating Kisumu Day 4-1 on penalty kicks. The match ended 1-1 in normal time and extra time, with Highland securing the win on penalties. Tulisema game imekuwa rahisi, by the way imekuwa ngumu, but kwa kujituma kwetu ndio imefanya tumefika mahali hapa hivi. Hatuku give up. Last year tulikuwa tumejipanga vizuri sana, ilifaa tuende regionals, but story na corona ikatokea, ikakata story na games, but hatu give up. Tulibaki shule, tukatrain, tukijipa moral, tukisema lazima tuende East Africa. In basketball, Kamito High School also produced stellar performance and hopes to register a victory in the finals. Finally, in the volleyball game, Nyamweli beat St. Joseph 3-0. Cheptel beat Ruthimi 2-3. Kwandanze recorded a 3-0 set win against Nyakongo, while Kesugon beat Mwitoti 3-1.
We shall only have 1 day or 2 days. Then from there, we jump into action in Arusha. So we cannot say that we have... Maybe what we do is we don't have time for nursing injuries. But for the practice, the teams are at their peak. So what is remaining now is just the journey masses and a bit of, if there is anything like a road, lag, because there is no jet here. We hope that the teams will arrive well and start off in Arusha.
Kamito High School and Highland High School are some of the teams which have already qualified to represent Kenya in the East African Games, which are scheduled to be held in Arusha, Tanzania next week. Reporting for Sunday Express Sports from Nakuru County, I'm Daniel Mwendwa. Well, thank you, Mwenda. And of course, that was the Kenya Volleyball Federation Nairobi chairman Mbudhia, optimistic that the teams that represent Kenya in East Africa are going to put forth a stellar performance. So we shall be looking forward to that. Meanwhile, the Chui racing team of KBC News anchor Pauline Shegu and Lisa Christopherson are set to represent the East African continent at the Rebel Rally scheduled for next month in the United States of America. This is the first time the region will have ladies taking the wheels at the Rebel Rally, which was inaugurated in 2021. The duo held a gala at a Nairobi hotel last night to raise funds ahead of the race that is set to be held between the 6th and 15th of next month.
Having successfully organized and participated in the Lioness Rally in March this year and subsequently competed in the Kenya National 4x4 Challenge, the Chui racing team of KBC News anchor Pauline Shegu and Lisa Christopherson have been invited to the Rebel Rally in the USA.
We've already been allocated our car number 178.
Last night they held a fundraising gala to meet their cost of participation at the event.
Was to put a beautiful gala dinner together where we could get the community and friends who support women in motorsport and who support us and our vision in taking Pauline and I, two Kenyan women from the only African team, to America. But we need money, we need support, we need sponsors to come on board.
The gala saw different parties pledge funds to support them ahead of their tour of the US, while more funds were raised through auctions of art pieces, antiques and jewelry.
We have done pretty well. We are still requesting for sponsorship because our target is not yet there.
The event is a women's only 2,500 kilometers off-road event in the deserts of Nevada and California. Competitors are required to use map reading skills to navigate through the rally route. The use of GPS systems and online maps are forbidden. The Rebel Rally is scheduled for 6th to 15th October 2022. Lisa and Pauline, who will be using a Kenyan-made Mobius car, are the first crew from Africa to enter the event. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1 Sports.
Now moving on to other matters. Well, number one, Ege Swiatek capped a dominant season by beating Tunisian 5th seed Ons Jabeur at the US Open to win her second major title of 2022. The 21-year-old Polish won in sets of 6-2, 7-6 to secure the season's final win. To other matters now, National Deaf Rugby team has intensified their training at the Rugby Football Union of East Africa grounds in Nairobi, ahead of the East Africa tournament set to be held in Uganda in December this year. Meanwhile, Kenya Sports Stakeholders Forum have appealed to President-elect William Ruto to appoint a sports cabinet secretary who will revive the sector and enable the youth to earn their living through their talents.
The forum, which brought together stakeholders from various sport disciplines, among them football, boxing, volleyball and tennis, assured the president-elect of their full support to ensure the multi-billion sports industry is an alternative source of employment for many Kenyan youths.
We look forward to working closely with your government in line with your Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Sports is a multi-billion industry and if managed well, can change the lives of thousands of young Kenyans.
The forum was organized by Extreme Sports CEO Hussein Mohammed.
We in the sports industry humbly appeal to you as you will be naming your cabinet secretary for sports to consider someone with a proven track record in sports management.
Meanwhile, the first edition of Mr. and Miss Africa Natural Bodybuilding Contest is scheduled to take place on 8th October in Eldoret. Participants were taken through some basics in seminar held at the Fitness Mania gym in Nairobi.
Make new mistakes, learn from what mistakes I've made, and make new mistakes so that you're able to accelerate your success and faster.
We can see maybe there is potential in you, and maybe we can come up with a way of maybe improving you.
Elsewhere, National Deaf Rugby Team both seniors and junior session has started their training at Rugby Football Union of East Africa grounds, Nairobi, ahead the East Africa tournament set to be held in Uganda in December this year. The team, led by head coach Sarah Agola, says she's optimistic that the team will produce stellar performance at the event.
Our emphasis is the skills. So we really want them to understand the skills. So me, I'm coming in more of, again, also wearing a different hat as an educator, just to ensure that they understand the game more and more and more. Secretary General Joseph Gary said they are working forward to establish deaf rugby teams at the grassroots.
I can say this is the only team for the deaf rugby in the entire country. But in future, if time allows, we are trying to come up with this kind of training in most of the schools for the deaf. We're hoping that when we go to World Cup, the target is only two things. Actually, the target is only one. But for us, we have to come back with that World Cup.
The deaf rugby team is on the move to establish the team by training effortlessly, firmly fixed on the prize as they build their legacy slowly but sure, keeping their focus on their potential for growth. Reporting for Channel 1 from Nairobi, I'm Kingori Mwangi.
Well, that's all the time we had for Sports Night, but just as I leave an update for the motorsports fans, and particularly Formula One, Max Verstappen of Red Bull won the Italian Grand Prix, that is at Monza today, meaning that with 7 races to go, Max Verstappen has very good chances of winning the championship once again this season. He came in first today. In second place was Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, and in third place was George Russell of Mercedes. Oh, that's it for me. Do have a good night, but don't go too far. JJ, Kioria, and of course Regina Manyara are on the other side of the studio. Good night.
All right, today has been quite a very interesting day, obviously informed by the fact that the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation will be giving you a front row view into Tuesday's event of a swearing in of President-elect William Ruto as he becomes the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. And many of you have been speaking. And Regina is on the other side of the studio to tell us what you have been saying. Regina?
Very well. Kioria, indeed, it has been quite the day, especially on social media. And let's just sample what Kenyans had to say. We're focusing on what our viewers had to say on Twitter. So we have been streaming live and we welcome your feedback. And as you can see, you also made a few comments in regard to the stories that we have aired for you. To just sample some of your views in the stories that we have focused on today. Let me get this. Let me get your views here. Checking on that. To just try and get that. Let me see. Well, that is actually coming down. It takes you all the way to their website. Majority of Kenyans have said that that has been good viewership. As we try to load the details of what you have said in terms of your feed, it's just to give you a sneak peek of how Twitter is looking tonight. Now, KBC is trending at position 5, and it all started with a graphics team there who decided to put something out there, honestly, and just, you know, graphics, as we say, online is where we view, or rather we give our views. And yes, it's trended, and that's why we are having hashtag Make KBC Great Again. And I'd want to start off with this tweet by none other than Alex Marete, who's been quoted saying that KBC is still the most reliable, dynamic and trusted broadcaster. It is great that His Excellency the President Ruto is injecting impetus towards KBC's transformation agenda of informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans. And indeed, as my colleague rightfully put, come Tuesday, we're going to be streaming live as well as having broadcasting live the swearing-in ceremony, where we're expecting that over 60,000 persons are going to be at the Kasarani Stadium for the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Dr. William Samoei Ruto as Kenya's 5th president there. And you can bet, Kioria, it has not been all matters serious. Some have also made some bit of fun, and what they have put into question is that some Kenyans are still coming to terms with the logo since we rebranded and we have that logo on air, and they're saying, hey, you know what, we need to acclimatize the new logo, you need to do something about your graphics, and we've heard you. We have heard you loud and clear, and we're going to be making those changes where need be. So some also, you have also highlighted some of your favorite anchors, and our very own Kamcha Menza there has been trending there on Make KBC Great Again. I like KBC, I remember the World Cup and African Cup of Nations, and those who enjoy watching a bit of football, welcome December. Actually, let's talk about November mid all the way to December mid, where KBC Channel 1 is your true sports partner, is going to be broadcasting the Qatari World Cup. So continue tweeting. Yes, we can make KBC great again, and we are here. These are some of the tweets that have been making rounds on social media. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Well, it's neither here nor there. We have been here. Well, so much has been said, but what we can tell you is that at KBC Channel 1, we value your feedback. Our Twitter handle remains at KBC Channel 1. We can also just give you a brief in regard to even prefer reading our news. You can find it on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. But for Sunday Express this evening, I'm Regina Manyara. I hand it over to you, Kioria.
All right, thanks, Regina, for that job of obviously looking at some of the tweets from Kenyans. And of course, one thing you can be guaranteed is that, as always, as has always been, we are professional and non-aligned. And that is why on Tuesday we'll be giving you a front row view into the very historic event of swearing in the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. And our teams are up and ready, and we promise you this task will not fail you, not at all. And of course, because you're speaking about what the admin of our Facebook page has been doing throughout the day, he's been quite busy, and some of the comments you've been talking about really have emanated from what he's been posting. The latest from our admin tonight is, don't be so in love that you cannot tell when it is raining. Good night. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Nabuli.